What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the review for The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 1. I think this is episode 6, and the episode was titled Sundance City. All right, you guys. You're gonna get this video early because Jen is on Watch What Happens Live, and I have no intentions of seeing Jen. So we're gonna go ahead and just knock this episode out the way, shall we? All right, you guys. So before we actually get into this episode review, do me a favor. Be sure to click down in that description bar for my affiliate link. Go check it out. If you guys do happen to purchase anything, be sure to use my 10% discount code so that way you can get 10% off of your purchase. So let's start up with Jen. Jen wasn't really much with her in this episode, which is a good thing for me. So we see Jen, and she's in her office space. She's on some roller blades. She's hula hooping, and she's talking to her first assistant, which I can't remember his name. Is his name Stewart? I think that's what the man's name is, Stewart. So they're going over her her plan, her calendar for Sundance. And I tweeted this because, like I said, I noticed that she does have a company. I think it said Shaw Marketing or something like that. The question that I have is who does all the work? Is it Jen or is it the assistants that do all the work? Just a question that I want to ask. So we then also find out later in the episode that, Jen was having a party for her cousin who is having a documentary premiere at, the Sundance Film Festival. So she's giving him a VIP party. Unless I'm gonna hope that it was a last minute, party, because this is the second time that Jen has had a party in her home, which ain't nothing wrong with having a party in your home. But for Jen to be that girl that she wants to portray herself to be, I would think, like, if I'm throwing a party, I don't want a party in my home. If I'm supposedly the it girl, she wants, she's this, socialite and stuff, I would think she would, find a nice event space or somewhere, extravagant to have a party to show off, hey, yep, I did that, but this is your house. And it's no shade to her that it's your home, but I'm just saying, if you were that girl, I would think you would have it somewhere else, but maybe not, who knows? I don't know, don't really care. Now, the one thing that did annoy me when I saw the party, I saw Lala and Katie from Vanderpump Rules. I was like, ew. Two people who I did not want to see on the television. Ugh. Like, I don't even remember, I can't even tell you guys the last time that I watched Vanderpump Rules. Actually, I really can't tell you the last time that I watched Vanderpump Rules. It's been a long time. I know I tried to review it back in 2019, but I couldn't because that one episode that I reviewed, I spent the whole time talking about how much those girls got on my nerves. From Katie to Stassi to Kristen to Jax to Brittany. See, pretty much the whole cast. So yeah, they're there. They're friends with Whitney. Whitney, I'm gonna need you to pick some better friends, just saying. So then at the party, now Heather. I don't have an issue with Heather. I kind of found it odd that out of every man in that party, Jen went up to the black guy to tell him to go talk to her friend Heather. I mean, I'm here for Heather, get your group, get your back blown out, whatever you got to do. I don't have no issue with that. I was just kind of confused, like, damn, out of all the men in this party, you choose a black man. Okay. We're going to move on from Jen because I'm tired of talking about her. All right, you guys, next let's talk about Lisa. It really wasn't a lot with Lisa either. All we saw with this episode with Lisa is her planning her Sundance events. She also tells us that she has a marketing company. Now, the one thing that I did notice in this episode was the fact that, with John, her husband, I'm like, is John her husband or her assistant? Because when she was planning one party, John pulled up in a U-Haul van. I'm like, and he, she's talking about she's not paying him for it. I'm like, I would assume you're not. But I'm just like, damn, John, are you her man or her assistant? What are you? Because I'm like I said in last week's episode review, John is in a marriage with himself because Lisa is not present in that marriage. So in my notes, it says, I could not work for Meredith 2.0 because Lisa is a lot to deal with. I was just looking at her when she was planning that shit. I'm just like, she's a lot to deal with. She's high strung. Ain't no way in hell I'd work with her because if she, the minute, she come at me sideways, I'm like, you know what, fuck this job, fuck you, I'm out. Period. Point blank. Now, the thing that got me with, I was just about to say Meredith 2.0, but Meredith 2.0, aka Lisa, when she has a nanny with her kids, the nanny called her and she declined the call. I'm like, girl, talking about her kids can fend for themselves. Now, what if something happened to one of your kids? They in the hospital and you calling them, and what if they're in the hospital, they can't get in touch with your husband, and then they call you and boom, declined. Them poor kids. Honestly, so I tweeted that if we get a season 2, we could do without Jen. We could do without Jen and Lisa for season 2 if we get one. We can get rid of Jen and Lisa and recast them two. I'm cool with that. I am cool with recasting Lisa and Jen. Let's move on. All right, you guys, next, let's talk about Heather real quick. It wasn't much with Heather either. So Heather and Whitney, they went out to a bar. Child, if I ever go to Utah, because when she was talking about that the drinks were watered down, and she was talking about you can't have you can't have 2 drinks on a table or whatever. I'm like, say what? They would hate my black ass if I come to Utah. They would be like, sir, you gotta go. Because I'd be like, fuck y'all, 2 drinks on the table? No. Like, I'm sorry, if I would go to Utah, I'm gonna have me a bottle of whatever I need. A bottle of tequila. Love tequila. Tequila is my favorite. Bottle of tequila, some a 6-pack of beer, whatever. Like, I'm gonna take me whatever, and I'm gonna pregame before we go out. And then when we go out, if the shit is just watered down, it'll just be watered down, and I'll already be buzzed. Like, ain't no way in hell I could just, Because I even tweeted about Whitney and Heather that I would love to go out because they are good. I don't want to say it, but they're good time girls. Kind of like what Lisa said in the first episode about Heather. Now, I don't mean it in a derogatory way that they're good time girls. What I mean is they are party girls. They like to have fun. They like to, dance on the bars, get fucked up, like shit, stuff like that. That's my type of scene. So I could definitely fuck with them. But yes, before we go out to the, a bar or wherever, we are getting drunk at home. We got pre-gaming. We getting drunk in the house. We getting drunk on the party bus. We getting drunk. We gonna try to get drunk there. But you ain't gonna tell me you ain't gonna tell me no 2 drink minimum or no shit like that. If I'm paying for it, give me what the fuck I asked for. So Heather, she was talking to Whitney about her marriage with her husband. Forgot what his name is already. But she was asking her, is she happy? She said yes. And then, Heather's talking about, she wants her fairy tale. And they, because she was with her husband for 15 years, but she didn't have what she wanted. I mean, Heather, that's kind of on, I hate to say it, but that's on you, my love. No one told you, no one forced you to marry that man for what the church wants. When you marry somebody, marry them for you. If you love them, if you can't see yourself being with anyone else other than them, you got to do what's right for you. She's also talking about the fact that she's been on Bumble, and she said that the guy told her that she was too much. I'm not gonna say that she's too much. What I will say for Heather is I just want Heather to love herself. The one thing that I did notice though, with the photo, they showed a throwback photo of Heather. She looked completely different. It was her. She has put on some weight, but I don't have a problem with the weight. It's her face. It is her face. Because her face looks kind of boxy at this point. I'm not trying to be shady. You know who she actually kind of looks like in the face? And this is actually gonna come out shady, but I don't mean it to be shade. She looks like the Crimson Chin from I'm not trying to be shady. I'm really not trying to be shady. I'm really not. But she looks like the Crimson Chin from the Fairly Odd Parents. Because if you guys look at her face at the top, like right up here, it looks like it's boxed. It looks like a box. Then it looks like it goes into a what's the sign? What's the? Is that the stop sign? What shape is that, you guys? I can't think of the shape. Oh my God, I look. Her face, so yeah, so part of her, actually, that's exactly what part of her face looks like. If you guys put her face up to a stop sign, Heather, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be shady, love. I'm really not. I'm really not. But your face does kind of look like a stop sign. I'm sorry. Sorry. I want to go back to whoever did her, like, God, how did they make her face like that? Mm, 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 mm. I'm sorry, Heather. I'm really, really, really sorry, love, because you like my tweet on Twitter. I'm really sorry, but your face does give me a, a stop sign tease. Just saying. I mean, look at my face. My face gives you moon pie. See, I can talk about myself. All right, you guys. Next, let's talk about fucking Mary. Mary and that house. The shit in that house is just really, really gaudy. I it just felt like it just looked like a clusterfuck of shit. No other way to put it, but a clusterfuck of shit. Speaking of Mary, have you guys have you guys heard that clip of Mary talking to her congregation? What did she call them? She berated, actually she berated her congregation about, I think it was a gift that they bought her, them not having money to buy her a certain gift. Mary is a piece of work. That's all I can say about Mary. She's a piece of work. And in this episode, we see how much more piece of a work she is. So, Mary is so fucking confusing. So, the lady that works for her, they hadn't even told us this prior to. She's her cousin. The way that Mary introduced her was so shady. She is my grandmother's brother's daughter. Mary, just say she's your fucking cousin. So Mary said, she came over one day after she had. I see for the few minutes. It took me a minute to gather which Robert she was talking about, because I thought she was talking about old man Robert. I'm like, she came over and she fell in love with him. I'm like, ugh, y'all just nasty. Does everybody in this family want this old? Does everybody in this family want him? Because when she said she fell in love with Robert, she didn't say Robert Jr. She said Robert. I'm like, oh my God. Because I was sitting there thinking to myself, she came over and fell in love with your husband? Ew. Your family got more issues than both. But then I finally figured it out. It's the little boy. It's the son. And because she said she's been around for 20 plus years. And then the fact that she sat there and said she don't know anything about her outside of what she tells her. But we're family. And I'm like, oh my God, Mary. Mary Cosby. Interesting. Mary is a conundrum. And one that I never want to figure out. Mary is a conundrum that I don't want to figure out. Like I said before in previous reviews, Mary could not lead me to water. She can't lead me across the street. She can't lead me to the bus stop. She can't lead me to God. She can't lead me nowhere. Mary can't lead me any fucking where. Period. Point blank. So Heather calls her because they're going out with Whitney for Justin. That is his name. For Justin's, I think Whitney said it's his 51st birthday. So Whitney is worried about how things will be between Jen and Mary. Mary says, she hopes that she and Jen can have closure. I'm like, Mary, Jen has a vendetta against you. I don't know why, but she does. I wish Jen would just let it go, like Elsa. Let that shit go. Please and thank you. Oh, good God, we are gonna have to relive this shit at their reunion. Their reunion should be filming pretty soon, I would think, because we're at episode 6, and I think how many episodes does this first season have? I mean, I know. Well, actually, I think they added some more episodes to Salt Lake City instead of doing 10. I think it might be 12 episodes. I think that's what I've heard. I'll have to go look and see on Wikipedia. I have to go see. But yeah, let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. Next, let's move over to Meredith. So we see Meredith. So Meredith is at her store and she's pulling some looks for a fashion show that they're having in Park City, Utah. And Brooks is also pulling some tracksuits that he made for the same show. So Brooks asks Meredith, "Is Seth gonna come?" She says, "No, Seth is not gonna be. Seth is not coming. Seth wanted to come, but unfortunately, with his business and everything, Seth is not gonna be able to make it." I'm like, that's bullshit. Because if my child is premiering their look, their clothing line in a fashion show, I'm gonna make it there. Seth doesn't want to come because Seth doesn't want to be around Joe ass right about now. That's what that shit is. You and Seth are in a bad spot, and Seth doesn't want to be around you. Honestly, I don't blame Seth. I mean, after the way she treated him, after the way she acted in last week's episode, don't blame Seth one bit. So then we see them, they're getting ready for the fashion show. One thing that I gotta say is Brooks annoyed me, and Brooks is unprofessional, and Brooks is spoiled, and Brooks is entitled. So Brooks tells Meredith that he's gonna be running 15 minutes late. So then he asks her to call Kim and tell her that he's gonna be 15 minutes late. I'm like, whoa, 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 ho, slow your roll, buddy. That ain't how this works. That ain't how it works. Cause I wish I would have ever asked my mama to do some shit like that. Did I ever ask her to call somebody and tell them I was gonna be late? No. No, I never did. Because if I was ever gonna be late to one of my jobs, I would always call them and say, "Hey, I'm running just a little bit." I would ask her like, "Hey, I'm getting ready." This is because actually back when I was living with my mom, we had the house phone, and I never really gave people my cell phone number. So I would give her the number to call, and I'll tell her, "Bring it to me so I can talk to them." Or if they were the last people that I called, I would say, "It's on speed dial. Can you just hit speed dial for me?" And hand me the phone, and I call and say, "Hey, this is," well, I go by my first name, and when I do jobs, I'm like, "Hey, this is Gerald, running a little bit late. I'll be there in about 15, 20 minutes, maybe less than that." But I never once asked her to specifically call someone and tell them I'm going to be running late. Like, I would never do that. Now, there is one thing that I did always ask her to do, and she was like, "Why don't you just do it?" I'm like, "Because I don't know the phone number. You got the phone book." I would always ask her to make a barbershop appointment for me. I would always ask her to call my barber because she knew my barber's number. Which I guess I could have looked up the number. But most times when I would ask her to call my barber, I would be in the car. And this was long before you could even get on the internet. Oh, damn, I'm aging myself. This is before, smartphones. Like back in the day, this was before smartphones when I first started driving in 2005. So yeah, I would literally have to have her call my barber and be like, "Set up an appointment for me." But yeah, I would never call her. I would never have her call somebody and tell them I'm gonna be late. And this is my grandmother. I'd be like, "Call your mom, call Big Mom and tell her I'm running late." I would tell her to do that with my grandmother, or yeah, it'll be my grandma, because I don't want to hear her voice. I don't want to hear her saying, actually, she would never. That's so funny. I'd always have her call my grandma. I guess the thing about me with her calling my grandma is I'm not the type of person that likes to talk on the phone like that. But hell, I know my grandmother's number by heart. But Brooks is just, I would never do that in a professional environment. I would never have somebody call somebody and tell them I'm gonna be running late. If I'm running late, I'm gonna give you the courtesy and call you. Then he was like, "Should I text her?" No, you should not text her. You should call the woman and tell her you're running late. So then the smoke alarm started going off, and Brooks asked her, "Was she cooking something? Are you cooking something? Are you cooking something? Are you cooking something?" excuse me, she said no 4 times. And then we noticed there was water running in the hallways from the toilet. The only thing that Brooks managed to do in this scene was get on my nerves because he was whining. Now, when they got to the fashion show, he was 45 minutes late. Whitney was there. I'll talk about Whitney in just a little bit. And all he managed to do, I get it. He wanted Seth there. But Seth, sent a little recording to his phone. He's a brat. Period. Period, point blank. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. And then to close the episode out, let's talk about Whitney. So Whitney is talking to Justin about the situation between Mary and Jen. So Whitney is inviting Jen over so that they can get in a hot tub with each other. So they get in the hot tub with each other, and they're talking about Justin's party that she's having, and they're going to be in a party bus. So Jen asks her, so who's going to be in the party bus? And she says, well, in the party bus, it'll just be, it'll be my, with our group, it'll be me, you, and Heather. And, everybody else is going to meet us there with the exception of Lisa. So in this scene, I don't get why, see, Jen just loves to bring Mary's name up. It's like word vomit to her. They weren't even talking about Mary. But see, that was the reason why she asked her who was going to be on the bus so she could bring up Mary. And Jen is still upset about the fact that Mary called her ghetto and a hoodlum. Well, Jen, if the shoe fits, wear the motherfucker. You were being ghetto, and you were definitely being ghetto, because the thing is, the way that you were acting with Mary at that table, if a black woman did that, she would be called ghetto. So since people confuse you for being black, well, sister, not sister, sister, you were ghetto. So then we see, Whitney at one point, she's getting her hair done, and Meredith calls her, and she asks her, she says her friend wants her to walk in the show. She says, I don't think about it because I've never really walked in a fashion show before. But like I said, with the Meredith scene, she did, end up showing up, she did show up. We didn't see her walk in a fashion show. I guess that'll happen in next week's episode. I guess, hell, I don't know. I guess, whatever. So, Whitney, that is my girl. She loves to have fun, and I love to see somebody have fun. Like the way in that party bus when she was dancing on Justin, man, if I ever go to Salt Lake City, Whitney, we gotta link up. We got to link up and have a good fucking time. I feel like we would just party the whole fucking night away. I would love to party with Whitney. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck was Mary wearing? I could not make heads or tails of what the fuck Mary had on at that fucking party. From the wig to the leather. Was that leather? I was just like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? So, Mary goes up to talk to Jen. And Jen mentions the fact about the party, and she was telling Mary about her heritage and da 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 da. I'm like, Jen, I'm tired of hearing this. It's old. It's tired. You're gonna have to come up with something different now, because Mary God. The crazy thing is, as much as Mary does get on my nerves, Mary gave you even though I feel like Mary's apologies are half-assed, Mary apologized to you for the hospital comment. Mary apologized. She said she was not trying to cut you off. Mary has made up for that. When Mary tells you how she felt, the reason why Mary said that, you don't say things that, you don't say the things that she's thinking, is because Mary is still feeling some type of way about you calling her a grandfather fucker. So Mary mentions that she called her a grandfather fucker. Jen says she didn't say it. I'm like, girl, you lying like a motherfucker. You are lying like a motherfucker. Like, it's on camera. It is on fucking camera. Just say to the woman, you know what, Mary, I'm so sorry. I did not mean for that. I really wasn't trying to do that. It came out in the heat of the moment. I don't know why it came out, but it just came out, and I do apologize about that. Instead of her saying, I didn't say anything like that, just apologize. Fuck. Jen and Mary are the same fucking person. I don't know who's worse. Honestly, I don't. But I know Jen gets on my nerves. And Mary gets on my nerves as well. But that's it, you guys. That was the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Be sure you like this video, leave your comments, and subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware of when I drop anything else, and share this video. And until the next one, you guys, do me a solid favor out there. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Remember, wash your hands, wear your mask, and socially distance. And I'll catch you guys later. Bye.